Once you have a clear black and white content structure, the next step is to associate each illustration with a SpeechDeck color. In this sample, the text blocks are hidden, so the black and white content headings are all that is visible: headline, story, and illustration cards. Some communicators prefer to stop here and use just this outline. Others prefer to script the presentation word for word. To begin, we will leave the text blocks hidden and show an example of how we would use the color cards with just an outline. For example, the first illustration in this sample presentation is to tell a personal story of the first time I spoke in public. I may not feel the need to script out word for word something that happened in real life. The black and white message is already clear. I want to use my story as an example, an illustration, to prove the parent storyline, that most speakers speak without passion. By clicking the Cards tab, I see all 8 SpeechDeck colors and the associated principles. This view in the sidebar is equivalent to the quick reference card in the physical card deck. One of the primary design principles of SpeechDeck is to keep it simple. So unless you are a very advanced speaker or writer, focus on just one color at a time. First, look at the colored headings and objective outcomes in black. Which color would best help you achieve your goals for this illustration? Interest, rapport, respect, action, relevance, focus, or impact. Of course you can pick any color. I decided that the most important thing I can do with this story at the beginning of my presentation is to earn respect. I want the listener to know who I am and respect what I say. Since I picked the yellow principle, I click the yellow Reveal the Messenger heading. All of the yellow technique cards on your account will appear. As you can see, they are divided into 3 skill categories, 3 different ways to reveal the messenger: by revealing ability, revealing authority, and revealing authenticity. I choose authenticity. You'll notice that by choosing a color and skill category based on my objective, I've narrowed down a list of at least 84 SpeechDeck techniques into just 4 options. If I want to learn more about any technique, I click on the card heading to open or close the technique card. I should pick the technique that fits best to my own personality and style. For this example, I chose card M301, the Y. To create a link to this SpeechDeck technique, I simply drag the color card onto the illustration card of my outline. The card now appears as a yellow cue card. I will do the same for some of the other illustrations. For example, my next illustration is an analogy of a preacher's pulpit. Once again, I look at my color list. I decide that I really want this illustration to leave an impact. That is my primary goal, so I choose the violet Engage the Subconscious principle. When the violet techniques appear, I look at the skill headings. I decide I want to apply sensations and choose card S201. I can repeat this process as much or as little as I like. Here is a completed outline with a card applied to each illustration. When I give this presentation in front of a live audience, I will only concentrate on the one technique at a time. When I begin speaking about the first time I spoke in public, I see the yellow cue card in my notes, reminding me to share my why. I only focus on that one color for that one story. When I get to the analogy of the preacher, the cue card reminds me to focus on describing the 5 senses of the experience. That is the only card I focus on until I'm done with that illustration. By coding my notes with the SpeechDeck color or letter for each illustration, I give myself technique cue cards. I'm applying the SpeechDeck principles with very little time and very little effort. I only focus on one principle at a time, and my presentation will automatically be more colorful and more effective. Using the color on your outline this way is the simplest use of color cards. You may, however, be planning on preparing a written communication, or you might be the type of person who wants to write out your script word for word. Let's reload the complete sample presentation with the text blocks visible. Notice that in this complete document, we've already applied the color cards to the text blocks and not the outline headings. In the first illustration about the first time I spoke in public, notice that I chose to use two different technique cards. That is so I only had to focus on one technique at a time. I split the story into two different text cards and applied just one technique to each. Do not attempt to apply multiple techniques at the same time until you become experienced at applying the cards. Click the colored cue card in your outline at any time to open and close the complete SpeechDeck card in the sidebar. If you make edits and need to move the cue card, you can simply drag it to any other part of your outline. You can also delete the card by dragging the technique cue back into your sidebar. When a technique card is open in your sidebar, you will see step-by-step instructions. Most cards also include fill-in-the-blank fields that will save any content you type alongside your document. Let's look at just this one paragraph. We actually came to the wording of this paragraph by using the yellow M301 card in the sidebar. The original paragraph included only this bold illustration summary. Most speakers speak without passion, just like I did. Step 1 of the card asked us to explain what we wanted to say. The point of the story was to say, I know what it's like to feel nervous. Step 2 asked me to reveal more than that by adding a why component. Based on the examples shown, I added this text. I share this story because I don't want to feel like I'm wasting the audience's time. I want to know that I make a difference. With my cursor in the text block, I clicked the Insert button to insert my text from the card into the outline. Color cards can include many helpful options: step-by-step instructions, fill-in-the-blank question, text boxes with insert buttons, sample wording that you can insert with one click, a view button to view the complete SpeechDeck card, a delete button to unlink it from your outline, and cross-reference card buttons that open related color cards. The color cards are references for you. Use them as little or as much as you like. If you have just a few minutes, you don't have to pick more than one color, and just keep that principle in mind while you speak. If you have more time, complete every step, add multiple colors, and script your presentation to your heart's content. Either way, adding color guarantees that you will have a more engaging, more influential presentation with more lasting results.